You joined our program, you started your business, you spent $5,500 in ads, and in revenue, almost $250,000, 220,000. How nuts is that?
Yeah, that's, I'm very happy about this.
Hey everybody, Dan Henry here, and I'm here with one of my favorite clients, Mr. Tin Man Lee. Tin is an amazing photographer, and he has an online educational product that teaches photographers and teaches people how to create great outdoor photography. Tin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So this is actually a second interview that we're doing because we had you on previous, and you joined our program, and I'm just going to read the stats here. So you joined our program. We taught you how to make a beta version of your course. And what that means for anybody watching is, let's say you want to create a coaching program, an online course, whatever it is. We teach you how to do a live sales presentation, pre-sell tickets or pre-sell access to that program before it's made. And then you make some money doing that, you create your program, you refine it, and then you launch it as a full-priced program. You give a discount on the beta, you launch it as a full-price program. That's very, very scratching the surface explanation of the method. So, Tin, when you did your beta, you spent $500. How much did you make from that?
Oh, on my beta, I make a total of $65,000.
$65,000, and it was $297 that you were charging at the time, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so just for everybody that's watched the previous interview, when we did the interview, he had made about $20,000, but he did an encore, and Tin, you did an encore, just so everybody understands, you did a live, you ran ads, you did a live presentation, pre-sold, people bought on the presentation, then some people bought after the presentation, they were still thinking about it, then you did an encore presentation for anybody that couldn't make it, and again, people bought on that encore presentation, then there was people that bought after it, and when it was all said and done, you ended up with $65,000 in revenue on $500 in ad spend for your beta, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I was following all your email sequence and everything, and people did ask me to do an encore, and then I did it, and then I got a total of $65,000.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Cool. Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. So you launched this as a 997 automated, ad to webinar to order page. And we have, it's funny because we have a lot of people that talk about high ticket these days, and they know that I primarily, or not primarily, but I love high ticket, and I love to sell and teach and teach people how to sell high ticket. And so we get a lot of questions. They say, Dan, are you still teaching low ticket? Does low ticket still work? And it's funny because we have like a huge portion of our program is how to sell low ticket. And you used our system. You used the system that we gave you for low ticket automated webinars to an order page with no phone call. And you spent when you got it launched, you raised the price to $997. So $1,000. You spent $5,000 in ad spend. How much did you make from that $5,000 in ad spend?
I made $25,000 from the $5,000 ad spend.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so now here's where it gets really interesting. You sold, because you're a photographer, you teach people how to create amazing outdoor photography. You have an Alaskan, it's like an event, like a seminar.
Right? Yeah, it is like a 5 days event where I lead a group of interested photographers to see wildlife and also at the same time teaching them. So it's almost like a in the field kind of course. And in this kind of, in the current events or all these things, it is just very difficult for people to even have the confidence to sign up for those events. However, when because of your teaching, I changed my whole style of teaching. I really talk to the students, listen to the students, and really make sure that everybody had their questions answered. So by the end of that 6 weeks coaching of my beta course, everybody was really happy and super supportive and super engaged. So when they actually backed me to let them in this tour. So when I announced the tours for next year, I think I was so shocked because basically within a few hours, instead of days or weeks, within a few hours, so many people booked. And yeah, so I got a lot of immediate payment for the deposits for next year.
Okay, so I have it written down here because we talked before the interview. So you got, so again, we have just so everybody understands, we have $5,000 in ad spend, $25,000 in 997 revenue. And then you got $50,000 in deposits for your event in Alaska. And when people then go to pay the balance of those deposits, that's $130,000 in revenue. So so when you add this all up, and correct me if my math is wrong, you spent, and let me just, you joined our program, all right? And let me just add this up. You spent $500 in ads for the beta. You then spent $5,000 in ads for the automated 997 webinar. So that's $5,500 in ad spend. You made $65,000 on the beta, plus you made $25,000 on the 997. That's $90,000. And then if you add the $130,000, and I realize that some of that you haven't collected in cash yet. This would be revenue or accounts receivable because they have to pay the balance when they do the event, which is a normal thing. Then that is so when it comes to revenue, you spent $5,500 and you made $220,000 in revenue. So $5,500 in ad spend, $220,000 in total revenue. And just for the people watching at home, we throw in a lot of numbers around here. If you take, so 60, sorry, hold on. So 25 is, so 65,000 plus 25,000. So that's 90,000. You turn 5,500 into 90,000 that you collected, right? But then you added a high ticket element to that low ticket. So again, we're turning 5,500 in ad spend into 90,000 in low ticket. So when somebody says, well, does low ticket still work? I think that shows that it works. And then when you added the high ticket element, you made an additional $155,000, 50 of it which you've collected. So again, you joined our program, you started your business, you spent $5,500 in ads, and in revenue, almost $250,000, $220,000. How nuts is that?
Yeah, that's I'm very happy about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm happy for you. And let me just say this. And again, one of the reasons I wanted to jump on here with you is because we got a bunch of emails recently that said, does low ticket still work? And Dan, can you help me with low ticket? And people forget that I made my first $8 million doing low ticket. And you asked me on a recent coaching call, you said, Dan, you're always talking about high ticket. Should I switch to high ticket? And what did I tell you?
Well, when I actually was tempted to try high ticket, but I remember totally that you mentioned to me that you made your first 8 million from a 997 course, and so I just keep working on that, and it's definitely hard work. But basically, in your program, you actually had everything laid out for us. I basically, you have all the template. I just put in my story, my program name, and all the email automation and all, which I would never have figured it out in many years of my time, but you have everything laid out. So basically all I needed was I could focus on helping my students. I could gather all their questions, make sure that I have all my good stories to help them understand that. But for the rest of the stuff, you have everything just perfect, like all the slide templates, all the email automation and everything. And I just need to sit down, follow you step by step. Really, it's just step by step. You have all the details covered. I never have any technical problems, basically following your detailed and very clear instructions. And so, from the beta turning into a auto webinar, I literally take less than maybe 1 or 2 days to put everything together with all the follow-up emails and everything, which was a miracle. But but once it's set up, it is so much easier, because for the beta, I actually still had to work to create the course. But this one, I just basically paid the Facebook ad, which you also gave us a really, really good lecture on how to create ads and all. But basically what I do now is I just have the ads running, and then the money just came in. Like every morning I check, and then there's money coming in, and I don't need to have any phone calls. So
Well, keep in mind though, you do, you know, it's, I don't want anybody to get the impression that you just turn on ads and the money rolls in. You did have to work to create good ads. You do have to rotate your ads. You know, maybe an ad will work for a while and then it'll burn out. Obviously, the better an ad, the longer it'll last. Have you had to rotate any? I mean, this is a month, so it's. Have you had to rotate any ads yet or no?
I actually hasn't even rotated my ads yet, but it's working. But I have to do it because from your instructions, I understand, because you know how Facebook really work, and so I need to follow all your instructions. But without rotating the ads, I have already been making this amount, so I'm pretty happy. But I know I have to work on that.
Well, no. I mean, if they're working, that's fine. But I get some queued up, because eventually, you know, the performance will start to decline and you'll have to create some new ads. I mean, if that wasn't the case, then you would see the same Doritos commercial every single day for the past 40 years. But ads wear out, they burn out, and then you got to create new ones. But you've only been at this a month, and you've had amazing results. So, but you'll have to rotate your ads a bit. It will happen. But you have a great offer, and when you have a great offer and you have great ads, you do. And you know what's weird about you? Not weird, but what's amazingly weird about you, Tim, is that you follow. I've had thousands of people that have bought my programs over the years, and I can count on maybe 2 hands how many people have followed my instructions to a T. Literally, no pushback, no resistance, no experimentation, just following to a T what I tell them to do. And in that collection would be like you, Andy, Mark, and you guys all make the most money. You know what I'm saying? Like let's be clear here. Not everybody that buys a product from me is going to make a bunch of money, because if they don't follow I mean, I've had people buy and never show up to a coaching call. I've had people buy and never ever even use it. But you, Mark, Andy, you guys are all at the top. You guys are all crushing it. And I doubt it's coincidence that you're all also the ones that follow what I say to a T, and as well show up to every single coaching call. And it's not what I say. I've been doing this for a long time. We've done, you know, well over almost like $16 million in my own revenue, and I've helped generate a lot more for others. It's not that it's what I say or what I believe. It's just what I've discovered, because I've been doing it long enough and I've dedicated myself to the art of this enough to see all the problems and see what works and what doesn't. So it's not my opinion. It's just what I've discovered and what I've found that works. And you've really, you know, followed that, and you've really stuck to the plan. And so you know, you shouldn't do high ticket right now. I mean, you are doing high ticket actually, because you sold 155,000 of us. What is $7,000 event?
6,500, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so tell me more about that. So you go to Alaska with a group of photographers, and how long is it? A week?
Yeah, it's about 5 days, and we take those small planes, and then we get into the most remote places, and then we look for like brown bears, and then we get pretty.
So you take pictures of the bears. How close do you get to the bears?
You don't want to know.
Oh man.
Yeah. But what I want to add to you is because earlier you asked me about that. Like I also need a lot of hard work, and I follow your steps. And I just want to say that I usually don't follow, but I also I spend a lot of time taking a lot of classes, as you can imagine. But from all my experience, only you can really pinpoint the main reason for each step. Like you would have, I think a lot of you who have watched your YouTube channels and all know that you are the best in explaining a theory or a principle with like the best matching stories and all, which really get into understanding the emotional reason of that. And when I took the class with you, took the program with you, what I learned is that everything really makes sense. And you are not teaching people how to hack the system, but what you are teaching is really to bring the best out of ourselves. And what you are trying to do is to really understand what the customers need. You are not really playing tricks with them. You are really understanding the emotional pain, and like from the emotional point to the to really how to make the things happen to them and all, which is I find this connection with my teaching in photography too. Like when people look at photos, there are so many beautiful photos out there. Like if you spend time on Instagram every day, right, you just scroll down there, all these beautiful animal photos and all. But the only one that really people will stop to look at it is not a beautiful photo. It's a photo that moves them. It really triggers their emotional response. And this kind of emotional response is like one ingredient after another ingredient. Is all like it's all proven by, like, you know, grandmaster oil painters spend hundreds of years trying to understand the human perception. And for you, you are the, I remember one of your students said that, oh, Dan Henry is like the Einstein of marketing. And that's Mike, right? I remember.
I'd rather be the Picasso of marketing than the Einstein, but I'll take the compliment.
Or Mozart, right?
Yes, yeah. I take a more, you know, some people take a very scientific approach to this, and I used to try that. And here's what I found, that you can try, and this is why you will find so many internet marketers that are certified in Infusionsoft and email marketing and automation, but for some reason they all still live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. They still have a mortgage. They haven't excelled. They haven't created real wealth. And I'm not putting them down, but what I'm trying to say is that when you focus solely on the science and not the art, you know, how many science, art is what makes something great. Science is what makes something make sense. And so you can drill down all of your automations and your tech and all that. But here's the thing. I know people that have the tightest tech and email sequences and the craziest stuff, but they're not the best speakers. They're not the best storytellers. They don't know how to explain things that well. And they limit themselves here. And then I know people who really have a mess of tech. I mean, they don't know what's going on, but they're great storytellers. They're great. Like, I'll give you an example. My friend Myron Golden, he's an 8-figure earner, and he's a good friend of mine, but you know, he barely knows how to use Zoom. He barely knows how to set up, like, that's not his, and he'll tell you that that's not his jam, but he makes more money than anybody who's like that can sit there and go, oh, it's emails and Infusionsoft and blah, 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 blah. Like, guys, that's not what makes you money. That's not what makes people buy your product. What makes people buy your product is great marketing, great stories, great ways of explaining things. That will beat the tech and science every single time. Now, if you have both, then, you know, I mean, you're a rock star. But at the end of the day, if you can open your mouth and say something to inspire somebody to follow you, that will take you farther, way farther than any amount of email sequences and we provide all that. Like you said, we gave you, and this is another thing. You're a photographer, right? You absolutely are an expert at that. But should you have to be an expert at email automation and this and that and the other thing? I don't think so. That's why we give you the systems that we've already refined over the years. We hand them to you, and then you have the science. It's done for you. You don't have to be a scientist. I've given you the done for you, tech part. You fill that in the blank with your art. And now you can spread your message without having to be a tech guru, because at the end of the day, do you want to learn how to be a marketer, or do you want to grow your company?
Yes. I'll give you a quick example. So in my own coaching call for the students, so what they'll do is they'll send me a few photos each time, and they'll ask me, so Tin-Man, what do you think of the photos? Do you think it is worthwhile to submit to any photo contest? I think the photo was really good, they asked me. And I just look at it and I said, I can see like 15 mistakes in this photo. How can you say that it is good? And the reason is because I have been making all these mistakes in my last 10, 20 years. And I have submitted to photo contests, I have been to exhibits and all, I have made the prints for like 6 feet and all. Those things, they have never made the mistake because they never had a chance. But I already knew all this. And when I attended your coaching call, I would see that you were just super sharp. Like everybody asked you a question, like before they even finished the question, you already knew what is the problem because you have seen them all. And the most important thing is so many teachers out there, they would just sugarcoat. Like they would say, oh, this is nice. Like keep up the good work. But for you, you are very truthful. You just point it out because you just want the students to succeed. You don't need them to say, oh, Dan is just such a nice guy, right? You want him to succeed. So
I'm definitely not that nice when I'm coaching.
Yeah, well, it's just because of this philosophy, which is very, I can really connect with my own when I tell the students about the photos, because I have already made all the mistakes and they don't need to listen, but they will just make the same mistakes for sure. I can guarantee that, even though they say, I don't buy you, I think my photos are pretty good. And then they submit it and they post it and then it never works. And then when they listen to me and when they told me, oh my God, Tin-Man, it works and I won. And I was not even surprised because I knew it works. And I think that's exactly what you are. And you are the one who actually give this very honest feedback. So that's why as what you just asked, I can be good in photography, but I'm really not good in marketing and selling and all. And so that's why I let you guide me through this. I just say, okay, whatever you said, I trust you. And because of the philosophy, I can just align myself and I can really connect with your philosophy of teaching. And that's why I've been following, like just don't need to ask question basically, because I knew from all your previous coaching call, indeed it is like a gold mine. And I don't know if other people know about your program, is that we can have access to all your previous coaching calls. And basically you have answered thousands of questions and you have everything timestamped. So people can just search it like, oh, if I have a question about how to do my introduction in my webinar to create the most impact, you have probably 50 examples of how people can make mistakes. And I can just listen to them. And it is like proven, like super strong proven things that you won't make the same mistakes as the other 50 people, right? That is something that I can save probably 5 years, 5 years or more for that. So that's why I like it so much.
Oh man, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, you know, I can definitely be a lot of bit direct and a little bit harsh on events and coaching calls when I answer questions, because, you know, I'd rather you get mad at me than mad at your mortgage company when they take your house. You know what I mean? Like, fine, be mad at me. I'm the guy, I'm the mean one, but at the end of the day, you're going to be a lot more upset when your business fails because you were listening to somebody else who just wanted to make you feel good. You know, how many NFL championship teams do you know of that have a nice coach? Like, does Bill Belichick sit there and go, oh, it's okay. Oh, that pass was fine. No, he's screaming. He's screaming at his players. I mean, I don't scream, but you get the point. It's you if somebody's not doing something right, you have to tell them you're not doing it right. I'm not here to be your girlfriend. I'm not here to be your therapist. I'm here to tell you the right thing to do to make you money. Do you want to feel good or do you want to make money? And trust me, when you make money, you'll feel good. So I appreciate, not only do I appreciate you following and I appreciate you doing the work, but I appreciate you appreciating how we roll in this program and in this company. And so I know we're going to have another student interview, and I know that it's going to be even better results. But this is, I mean, you're talking about dude, I mean, to turn $5,500 into $220,000 in revenue, and even if you just go by the cash, and even if you were just to go down to the 997, forget the beta, forget the high ticket upsells, just the 997 funnel, 5K into 25K, that right there is a testament that low ticket still works if you do it right and you do it well. And the only way to do it well is to get help from a team that is the best in the world at this. And I will throw my hat in the ring for a vote of that, because I believe, over the past several years, my team has dedicated ourselves to making us the best in the world at this. And because this is what we love, this is what we do. So, Tin, if somebody's considering getting into my program, and they're on the fence, what would you tell them?
There is no question that you should invest in you. Just like my photography, because you always ask people, like, if you ask people who doesn't really have the best coach in the world, like, why would you even want to invest in them? And I look back in my last 10 years, I probably have invested over $100,000 learning from all the masters in photography. And when I have a chance, and back in the days, it was very, very difficult to find someone who actually can teach you. So if I can find a good photographer who actually are willing to teach, I just jump right in. And for this one, I just want to add that I have never really did Facebook ads before. I only did this boosting post before. And so this is really the first time. And I got 25 grand in a month, and it was a very good feeling when every day I woke up and I know that the rent payment has no problem for this month. And also I would just strongly recommend everybody to definitely book a call and talk to your team and just join yesterday. And it just don't waste your time to think about this, because this is the world's best right here.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I will. I look forward to seeing your continued success and continued results. And thank you for taking the time of day to jump on here and talk to me. Thank you so much, Tin.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
All right. See you soon.
See you soon.